You've been working for 40 years or more, and now you're wondering if you have enough to retire. A question that normally comes up for people in your position is, how much do people have saved for retirement by this age? You may have even Googled it or ChatGPT'd it now, which is often followed by panic when you see the results. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through what the numbers mean and why they can often be misleading. And most importantly, how you should think about them in your own situation. Before we get into the numbers, there are two very important things you should know. First, these figures are benchmarks. They're not targets to hit. They're designed to give context, but not tell you whether you are safe or unsafe. Second, we're talking about household level data, not individual accounts. That means couples combined. This is key, as once you grasp this, the numbers will start to make more sense. One of the biggest reasons retirement data causes so much confusion is the difference between average and median. The average is what you get when you add up everything and then divide it by the number of people. The problem is a small number of very large retirement pots pull that average right up. The median is different. That is the middle number. Half of people have more than the median and half obviously have less. So if you want to understand what is typical, the median is the number that we should be looking at and focusing on for the purposes of this. That distinction alone explains why so many people feel behind when they may not be. So let us start by looking at the numbers themselves. Based on the best data available in the US, the median household with someone aged roughly 55 to 64 has about $185,000 saved for retirement. In the UK, people in their late 50s to early 60s typically have around $130,000 to $140,000 in pension savings. Now, it's important to note that isn't just what people have in one account. That's across all accounts, which, depending on where you live, will include your 401ks, your IRAs, your Roth IRAs, your workplace pensions, your personal pensions, your ISAs, your SIPs, all of the above. But however, this does not include Social Security or your state pension. So in both countries, we're talking about total retirement savings across multiple accounts, not a single pot and not guaranteed income. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, please subscribe to the channel for more retirement-based content to help you enjoy the most out of the precious years of your life. Now, at this stage, a lot of people get stuck comparing these numbers. They start thinking, am I behind? Am I ahead? But this is where it's important to just pause, because knowing what other people have saved does not tell you whether you're on track or not. They tell us what is typical, but they do not tell us what is enough for your own personal retirement. And that brings us to the question that actually matters. The real question we want to focus on: how much do I personally actually need? You may have heard rules like you need 8 times your income by 60, and you should only draw down 4% of your retirement pot. Those rules are simple, but they often overestimate what is required because they ignore reality. A better way to think about it is to first estimate your retirement spending. So for many people, spending in retirement is lower than during their working years because some big costs like your mortgages and money spent on children, hopefully by that point, have disappeared. Second, you need to subtract your guaranteed income. So that might include your UK state pension, your US Social Security, or any other defined benefit pensions or final salary pensions that you might have, and things like annuities too. So what remains is the gap your investments need to fill. That gap is usually far smaller than people expect. And this is why people delay retirement unnecessarily. They assume they need way more than they actually do. If you're watching this and thinking, even knowing this, I still feel behind, that does not mean retirement is off the table. So there's a few levers that we can pull that can make this possible later on. So those include increasing how much you can actually save. Even a small amount can make a big difference. Making sure your investments are aligned with your time horizon. Reducing a small number of the big expenses. And for some people, planning for part-time income, or even worst case, having a later retirement date. The worst thing you can do is nothing. It's not personal failure. It shouldn't be thought of that. It's just a planning problem, and it's a fact of your reality, and it needs action to actually get a result. So if you want to help thinking through any of this in your own situation, you can click the link in the description box to book a free, no obligation call with one of our planners. It's simply a chance to talk through your situation, ask questions, and understand your options and where you are. The takeaway from all this is that benchmarks are useful for perspective, but they are not a verdict on your future. What actually matters is your spending, your guaranteed income, and how your assets are structured across countries to support you. And if this video helped, subscribe for more clear, practical discussions about money, retirement, and global living. And thanks very much for watching.